in the realm of public opinion, vegetables often get a bad rap because they tend to taste bad. And that's understandable. A lot of the produce available in grocery stores are grown for weight, water content, and mass production. So when we begin to prioritize those factors, we tend to lose sight of what we want in terms of flavor and taste, and texture, and all those things. And oftentimes vegetables that are grown in a garden tend to taste a lot better, a lot sweeter, a lot more fresh. That produce that you picked in your garden did not have to travel very far at all to get to your plate. Whereas a lot of the produce available at the grocery store may have been picked a few days ago, or even longer in some cases. And I feel like certain types of vegetables can really be affected by a lack of freshness, right? A longer time of transportation to get to that store. And I feel like green beans are definitely one of those crops, right? So here I grow the Blue Lake Bush green bean. It's got a tremendous flavor, it's easy to grow right in the backyard, and it produces pretty abundant yields. Especially today, I'm going out there every single day and I'm picking a bunch of green beans. We've also been getting a bunch of rain. That might have something to do with it, but like normally I go out there once every other day and I'll go through and pick that whole patch. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go check out the green bean patch, and I'm gonna take you through how I harvest these green beans as effectively and efficiently as possible, because especially if you're growing green beans at a larger scale, it's important to really be able to have that process down. They take a long time to pick and they don't sell for very much. So let's go check it out. So here we have the Blue Lake Bush bean growing in along with some cucumber down that way, and then also some sorghum down over there, down the center row. So this is kind of the companion planting strategy that we have going on here. I really like growing bush beans because they're a lot easier to harvest, they're a lot easier to plant because you don't have to set up any trellising, either spending time, money, or energy setting that whole thing up. And it also gets really windy over here, especially getting into August and such things like that. And when the plants are larger and more developed, and you've got all those leaves on those trellises, it's really easy a lot for things to tip over or blow off. And so keeping plants more low to the ground can be really beneficial in this context. Yeah, we're starting to get into some bean production, right? Zoom in here a little bit. So we can see here, like, you know, some of the young beans are starting to come into fruit after flowering. And here's a flower here. So this variety of bean actually has a white flower. Like other varieties, like the Provider, might have like a purplish, pinkish colored flower. Produces fairly good sized beans. This one, a little young, but yeah, very tender, stringless, really sweet, crunchy. You can probably, that crunch probably came in really good on the camera. When you freeze these beans, they do kind of seem to sweeten up a little bit. You can put them into soups, you can eat them like fresh once they thaw, whatever you choose to do with them. Drying them also works really well. It concentrates that sweetness as well. You know, it's actually might be a neat like addition to like a trail mix or something, because it doesn't really taste like a vegetable at that point. It's almost like dried fruit, but I mean not that sweet, but a lot sweeter than what you'd anticipate like a green bean to taste like. So when it comes to harvesting, I'm just using a colander today because I'm not harvesting a whole bunch, but some people will use like a bushel basket or a 5-gallon bucket or something like that. What I like about the colander is, especially if it's like wet, like after it's rained or if it's dewy or anything like that, the water can just kind of drip out and not collect in the bottom. So I'll be using the colander today. And looking at the beans here, we've got some of them really coming in pretty good. What you can do, I mean, you can use scissors if you don't want to, if you're afraid of like damaging the plants when you're pulling off the beans. These usually come off pretty well, but yeah, I mean, generally what I do is I just hold it with my fingers. I take my thumb and I just kind of snap it right off like that. There you go. Now when we're picking the beans too, what you can do is you know, you can kind of straddle the rows a little bit, like 1 foot on one side, 1 foot on the other, and you can just kind of dig through and go down the row. And I'm like, okay, that's a good one. Especially if you can find the beans like in bunches, and then you can pull them off as a bunch, right? You can just kind of, right, you want to make sure that the beans are like kind of, you put turn them up like that, and then you can pull, and then you can just pull up like that too, and it can make the harvesting go a lot faster. So especially if you're doing this on a larger scale for like a farm, yeah, you really want to be as efficient with this process as possible. Some of these beans are looking pretty good. See, pulling up 2 at once, and you can just kind of like fish them out pretty easily from the plants. There you go. So a little bit of technique involved, and you know, green beans are definitely, like on a farm, one of the crops that take like the longest to pick or to harvest, just because, you know, they're pretty small in comparison to like a zucchini or a cucumber or a tomato even, other than the cherry tomatoes. The cherry tomatoes can also take a really long time. So you really want to be as efficient with this process as much as possible, especially because green beans don't really sell for that much either. So you don't want to spend a whole lot of time picking them. But in the garden setting like this, you know, I do actually really kind of enjoy coming out here to pick green beans. I mean, I can be out here eating green beans all day. Green beans, of course, are a really good source of vitamin C, some polyphenols and other compounds and stuff, so really good for you. All right. So I hope you enjoyed this video on green beans. They can be a tremendous addition to the diet, a tremendous addition in the garden as well, and they can just be a really easy, low maintenance crop to grow. You just have to be disciplined with going out there and picking every day or every other day, or as needed, because as long as you keep picking those green beans off the vines, not allowing them to mature, they will continue to produce more green beans for a good while. So thank you so much for checking out this video. Look forward to seeing you in a future video. Take care.